Welcome to another Adventures in Product Sourcing podcast, where Kenny Edwards and his guests share tidbits and insights gained from their adventures in finding and bringing great products to market. Well, I'm getting ready to head back to China for another sourcing trip, and that reminds me, I have to buy train tickets. Now, quite often, if I don't have a set schedule, I'll wait till I get to China, and I'll actually buy train stations at the train station. Train tickets at the train station. Silly me. But if I want to be sure that I have a good seat on a train, I can buy those in advance. And like right now, I'm probably a week out from leaving to go to China. So I went ahead and bought my ticket from Shanghai Hangzhou station all the way down to Yiwu. So looking at the trains, I'm going, oh my gosh, all the good seats are just about sold out. So I want to walk you through this whole process of buying a ticket in advance and how you pick it up and what are the classes of service and what you need to expect in that regard. So I'm going to assume that you're landing in Shanghai, though the same thing pretty much applies to any of the major cities in China. So once you decide where you're going to go, and what day you're going to have to go, you go ahead and go into one of the websites that actually sells train tickets. Now, there's a number of them. There's China Travel Guide and China Tours and a number of other ones. But the one that I've come to rely on is ctrip.com. I go there, I look up the date and the destination I want to go to and the origin, of course. And then it gives me back a list of trains. Now, these things are only listed 60 days in advance. If you try to book something out, let's say 3 months, there's not going to be a schedule of trains for you to actually buy tickets for. But if you are within 60 days, in this case, I'm within 7 days or 8 days, I can actually go on there and actually locate a seat and purchase it. Now, there's 3 classes of service on the high-speed trains, and there's 3 kinds of high-speed trains. There's the G train, which is the fastest, which will go 186 miles per hour. That's 300 kilometers per hour for your Europeans. There's the D trains, which will go 155 miles per hour, and that's 250 kilometers per hour for you Europeans. I'm tongue-tied today. And the C trains, which go 124 miles per hour, and that's 200 kilometers per hour for you Europeans. I'm getting better at that. So generally, you're going to take a G train. And yes, they do actually go that fast. I've been on them. And I've actually been standing on the platform when they've passed me. And it's like, oh, there comes the train. Oh, there went the train. That's how fast they go by. So anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, 3 classes of service. We're not even going to talk about sleeper trains. We're just going to leave that completely out of the equation. So there's the business class, the first class, and the second class. And there's also something called standing room. Trust me, you don't want standing room. So in business class is 3 seats across. You get a nice, comfy, wide chair with a little reading light. And they'll actually bring you a drink and a little snack, a little box of cookies or something when you're in business class. But that's 3 seats across. And if you get 1A, you actually are sitting right behind the driver who's actually driving the train. And there's plenty of room for luggage, unless you're somebody who brings like 8 bags, in which case you're crazy. Try to keep it down to 2 or 3 pieces of luggage, please. And one of those can be large for carrying samples and stuff that you pick up from the factories. I always take a big bag to put samples in, but I'll talk about that on another podcast. Anyway, if you go into first class, it's 4 seats across. It's still fairly wide, comfortable seats, but you won't have as much room for luggage and you won't have as much leg room. But generally, I'm a really big guy. I'm over 6 feet, and I still have enough room from my knees without touching the seat in front of me, even if they lay back a little bit. So that's nice. Now, back in second class, which I have ridden in, there are 5 seats across. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then an aisle, and then seats 4 and 5. I have ridden back there, and it's rather cramped. But then again, most Chinese are way smaller than I am, and they prefer to ride in second class, just because it's a lot cheaper. You will find out, though, because there are a lot of foreigners traveling, and the more affluent Chinese, that first class and business class generally will fill up before second class. So if you want to ride and have plenty of room for your luggage, you go with business class, which typically will cost 80% more than a first class ticket. A first class ticket will generally cost 50% more than a second class ticket. So if you really want to go on the cheap and you have very little baggage, you can go with a second class ticket. It's perfectly safe back there as far as I can tell. I've ridden second class. It hasn't been a problem. But it's because all my luggage was at the hotel, and I was just going out for the day to a factory and coming back. So I really didn't have to carry any baggage with me. I will tell you one very interesting thing about the way the Chinese actually book their tickets. You don't get to pick a seat. You don't get to indicate what kind of, which seat is open. Oh, I'm going to pick that, like you would with setting an airline reservation in the United States. You don't get to do that. But if you get in there and sit down, you'll find out that they fill the rows up from one end of the carriage to the other end. So I bought a second class ticket one time, and I got in there, and I forget how many rows there were, but there were 3 rows filled out of, say, like 15. And all the seats on the last 3 rows, we were all together. And the other 12 rows or so had nobody sitting in them. It was so hilarious. I'm like, can we spread out after we start moving? Because this is ridiculous. It was like all these people were all shoved to one end of the carriage, and there was nobody in most of the other rows. It was really humorous and sad in a way. Anyway, so if you're traveling in China, you're probably going to travel first class. That's an okay way to go if you don't have a lot of baggage. If you got a lot of baggage with you, you definitely want to go with business class to have room to, make sure all that baggage is with you. But if you're just going out for a day, and you want to save some money, then you can hop into second class perfectly fine. One thing about second class is you'll meet a lot of Chinese back there who would like to talk to you. I ran into a student at one of the universities in Hangzhou, and he wanted to chat. So we sat there and chatted. And if you talk to like a Chinese student very long, they'll actually want to change or exchange names with you and email addresses. And of course they want you on WeChat, but that's a topic for yet another podcast as well. Anyway, I just want to give you an alert on how the trains are laid out. As far as buying in advance from America or Europe, you can go ahead and buy the ticket on the ctrip.com website or one of the other websites that also have it. They'll add a 40 RMB, which is the Chinese currency, processing fee on top of that. If you're paying with a credit card from outside China, they'll add another 3% on top of that. So I just bought a ticket for 444 RMB, and they added 40 RMB on top of that, and then they added like 15 RMB for the processing fee. So it actually came out to 499 or something like that RMB. So I paid a little bit for the processing. But now that I bought this ticket, how the heck am I going to get it? You can actually choose to have it delivered to an address in China where you can pick it up, like a hotel or someplace. And they charge 40 RMB is what C-Trip would charge you for that privilege. Or you can actually go to the train station to the ticket pickup window and actually pick up the ticket. And you actually have a confirmation number you can take and show to them, and they'll give you the ticket. Well, if your passport matches the name that's on the ticket, then they'll actually give you the ticket. And if you do that in the same city that the train is departing from, it doesn't cost you anything extra. If you pick it up in a different city, because you can pick up all your tickets at one time from any train station or train ticket office in China, no matter where you're departing from and going to. I'm getting off. I'm sort of trying to confuse you. No, not really. So if you go and pick up your ticket at the train station that you're departing from, it doesn't cost you anything more. But if you pick it up from a ticket office inside the city, and like Shanghai has like, oh my gosh, it's got to be like 40 or 50 ticket offices all over the city that you can go to and pick up your ticket ahead of time. They charge you like 5 RMB, which is less than $1 for the privilege of picking it up at a ticket office. Anyway, I hope that helps. But I just want to give you a glimpse into the classes of service and how to buy the ticket in advance, and how you go about picking up the ticket. Okay? Thanks. Happy train travels.